Greetings, greetings, greetings. Once again to the family, Run Tell That family. Glad to have you all in the house. Glad to have you all once again right here in the house. We're in the lab. We're in the lab like always, and we bring it to you. And got a special brother. You know, everybody who comes on Run Tell That, everybody is special. And all the shows are always bam, always explosive shows. And this one right here, it is still August August, that's what's going on. August. So you know it is fantastic. Got my brother in the house, brother Richard Murphy in the house right here. Bam. Chilling in the port city right here. And I gotta say this, I gotta throw this out here to y'all that something I was just going through something. I got an email that came in. And the email was like, you know, about talking about wanting me to like, do I want to get a plaque with regard to some honor? I'm like, okay, what is this about? So it said Day Clean Journeys, you know, saying about excellence. And I'm like, what? So I had to go check something out, like Connect Savannah. What I did not realize, and I gotta go address it now, Dr. Deidre Grimm has said something to me, but I didn't understand the magnitude of it. When the Best of Savannah, I did not realize that Connect Savannah, that Day Clean Journeys was the runner-up and the best tour company in Savannah. Did not realize that we were the runner-up. No, we did not win it, but we were the runner-up. Didn't even, again, that's to show you, didn't know anything about it. So now, why am I bringing this up right now with y'all? That's why I say how fortuitous is, how this is a blessing right here, because Day Clean Journeys, as I tell folks, we are able to do what we do based on other people who've taken the experience, who've taken the journey. Because they're like, we are the reverse onion. We add layers to us. We don't peel away. We add layers. And guess what? Brother Richard Murphy is one of those people who helped make this possible. So that's why I'm like, wow. I only saw that just like within the past hour. And I'm like, I'm going to have a brother on who helped put us in that position. So my brother, I got to say thank you to you for us to even be in that category, because we didn't even know it. But you, again, that's why I say you helped plant the seed, because again, you allow other people to take the experience in 2021. Yo, that's what it's about. So my brother, Richard Murphy, I'm going to throw it out there on Run Tell That. We always throw this out there to folks. Who are you?
Okay, we're getting feedback. First, I want to thank you, Brother Jamal, for Brother Toure, for inviting me to your live stream. And like I've shared with you before, that since our meeting about 4 years ago, it seems as though we are kindred spirit, like we've known each other before. That we met, that there's something special about this brother, and it was more than just a tour. That first time I came down, I said, I know this brother, and we've known each other before. And so, who am I? I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. I was born and raised here in the city of Atlanta, and I spent the majority of my time between the homes of both my grandparents, my mom's parents and my dad's parents. And having gone to elementary school, high school, and college here in Atlanta, is where my nurturing came when it came in regards to becoming an entrepreneur, teacher, and whatnot. And so I'm a Georgia born, Georgia bred,
Ah,
particularly in the city of Atlanta, and that's who I am for right now.
okay, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now we're gonna do this like we gotta do, because again, because we're African people, this is what we do. Who your people? Who your people?
My people are basically, when I've traced my mom's side of the family from the Congo, as well as
Ah,
my dad's family is from ancient day. Well, back in the day, it was called Dahomey, but it's present day Togo. And so a
ah,
lot of my people are basically from South Georgia, and I shared with you that I have some on my dad's side of the family have some close ties to Savannah. So Savannah is always a special place in my heart. And on my mom's side of the family, we had people who were just great workers and who basically had a great work ethic. And on
yes,
my
sir.
dad's side of the family, also had a great work ethic. However, these were the ones who were my entrepreneurs, who had a very
Ah,
strong entrepreneur background. And so those are my people. You know, my people from the Congo, my people from Togo, present day Togo, which was known as Dahomey. And on one side, well, particularly like my dad's side of the family, that was a lineage of a priest,
ah,
people who was in the priesthood. And then on my
okay.
my mother's side of the family, these were people who were actually warriors. I mean,
Ah,
warriors, straight up warriors. So there's a combination between a warrior priest that basically comprise who I am. And I didn't realize that until I got older and really started studying African history and culture when I went off to school. And so it began to make sense to me as to why I began to see the world the way I see it and move in the world the way I move in it.
gotcha, gotcha. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Interesting. And on the part of my family, origins tied to Sierra Leone, with regard to on my mother's side, on the maternal side, of my mother, Sierra Leone, a Mende woman. I tell folks a Mende woman. And then on my father's side, it is tied to Nigeria and a Yoruba man. So yeah, when you said that, I was like, okay, okay, okay. Dahomey in the
Mm.
Congo. Again, relevant to who we are. And to Pastor Betty Jones, Brother Mike, we are saying thank you for y'all. Welcome to y'all. Good evening to you again. Pastor Betty Jones, Brother Mike, glad to have y'all here. So now, Brother Rich, going to ask you this, because you kind of alluded to some of it. I want to know who inspires you or who inspired you?
We're breaking up, but if I understand what you was asking me, who inspired me? Well, I
Right.
did
Who
allude to
inspires
it.
you?
My greatest inspirations came from my grandparents, my mom's parents and my dad's parents, and basically spent the majority of my time between both households. Um,
Okay.
and so their spirit still lives within me, particularly my grandmothers, who both transitioned, and just some very strong, dynamic women who understood the importance of maintaining a strong and healthy, functional family.
Mm.
And so those are my greatest inspirations. And my granddad, who's still alive now, that was my greatest male figure inspiration. Strong, resilient,
Mm.
no
Okay.
nonsense, tell it like it is, and he didn't take no mess from anyone.
Ah, okay. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's important. That's relevant. And you're going to see the balance. So those of you out there checking us out right now, we tell folks share the information. Check us out here on ATR on Facebook, and also go ATR Black Media on YouTube. Check us out. Pass the word. Share the information. So now, my brother, I'm going to. What song inspires you? I mean, what song? What's your favorite song, and what does it mean to you? It might be more than one song. Now, some people have more than one song. So you can throw out all the songs. What songs or songs make you give you that? Oh,
Well, one of the things about songs is that being born in '68 and my childhood being during the '70s, coming into my manhood during the '80s, we had a plethora of songs and artists that I could basically just rattle off. And so just to think of one, that wouldn't I wouldn't do too good with just thinking about particular one. However, there were a couple of that do come to mind.
Okay.
Being a huge fan of Earth, Wind, and Fire, just with that group alone, there are
Yes, sir.
several number one songs with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now, however, there are several. There's about five that I am going to think about that have been very pivotal in my life. One is "Wake Up Everybody" by
Ah,
Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, featuring Teddy Pendergrass. And
yes.
then you also have "Save the Children" by Marvin Gaye. You
Mhm.
have "Keep On Pushing" by the
Mm.
Impressions. "A Change Is Gonna Come," Sam Cooke. And one of my all-time favorites is "Talking Loud and Saying Nothing" by Brother James Brown. And then one of my favorite hip hop songs is "Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos" by Public Enemy. And so they
Ah.
all have their special meanings, but they have really been a foundation in helping me guide my spirit and my understanding of who I am in this world, and particularly in this country, and what it means
Mm,
to basically stay in alignment with the teachings of my ancestors,
mm,
and that is
mm,
to rescue,
mm, mm,
reconstruct, and
mm,
resurrect their teachings so that
mm,
we can be who we say we are and who we can
mm,
be.
mm, mm. Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that. That's it. Powerful statements by the brother. Powerful statements, and that's it. And just like for myself, you threw it out there, Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's the way of the world. That's the one for me. That again, even though I may have others, but that's one that resonates with me. That's the way of the world. Again, Hearts of Fire. So I tell folks that's what it's about. So again, resonating within the soul, letting us understand who we are and who we are in this place, in this time and space right now. So, my brother, Richard Murphy, why do I need to mind my business? Why do I need to mind my business? Why do I need to mind my business? If it got disconnected, I said, my question to
Okay,
you,
we
brother,
faded out
why do I
slightly.
need to mind my business?
Okay, if I understand, the question was, why should you own your own business?
Oh, why should I mind my business? You know, the question, why should I mind my business? I know you're going to elaborate, but again, why do I need to mind my business?
Mind your own. Okay, I got your question now.
Mhm.
As a lifestyle and financial trainer, what we inspire and encourage those who have decided to own their life is that what that means is that once you subtract out the sleeping time, the commuting time, the working time, and all the times that we have to do all the things that we have to do each and every day, most people don't have no more than 1 or 2 hours to really enjoy the things that they would like to enjoy. But here's the big question: would they have the money to really enjoy it? So we
Mm,
discovered many moons ago a way for a person to be able to own their life, which is synonymous to minding their own business, where they can basically make a choice. And that choice is to be able to do the things that they would like to do with whomever they would like to do it with, however they would like to do it without money being an issue. And so, what does that mean? Let's say you have a job. You would like to be able to have that job because you choose to, not because you need to. And minding your own business positions us to be able to make that happen. And so we would share a process on what that looks like, on how a person can eventually own their life by minding their own business.
yes, 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 indeed. And so that's why again, and the brother, when he shared this with me, that concept again, say minding your business, minding your own business. Again, now with some of us, you know, that's about shut up, be quiet, don't say nothing to me, you know, mind your business, stay away. But no, this is when again, as he said, as a lifestyle coach, as a financial coach, it's about not you taking control of. It's not like saying rejecting. This is not saying you not taking control of your life. So yes, indeed. So that's why I'm minding my business. So how can we become financially secure in our tomorrow? How can we become financially secure in our tomorrow, as I put it out there? Somebody say the future, but I just say our tomorrow because it's right now. It's happening.
Well, one of the things that when people work with us, we place a strong emphasis on the importance of words, because we maintain that the words that we use we either enslave us or
Mm,
liberate us. And so
mm.
let's look at the
Okay.
word secure.
Mm,
As a lifestyle and financial trainer, when we're given instructions and insight on how to own your life, our word is freedom.
mm,
Why not
mm,
secure?
mm,
Why
mm,
not security?
mm,
This is an example that we give. We often ask the question, who would you say are the most securest people in this country, in the United States? And having asked that question, I get various answers. A lot of people say the most secure people is people who have a lot of money, or people who may have a uh, high paying job, or what they consider a high paying, safe, secure job. And so after I get the various responses, I say, well, hey, it was really a trick question because
ah,
the trickness in the question is when you see the most securest people in this country, they're prisoners.
mm, 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 mm,
Maximum security.
mm, mm,
However, they have the least amount of freedom.
mm,
And
mm.
so we say, how do we make the decision to achieve freedom in contrast to security? But then that becomes a question of financial education.
Mm,
And so when
mm,
we talk about our tomorrows are going to look exactly the way our todays look.
mm,
And our
mm,
todays look exactly based on past decisions that we've made. And so,
mm.
in the spirit
Okay.
of Sankofa, we understand that our tomorrows are going to look extremely exactly the way they are today, based on the information that we've made decisions on based on our past. And so, in order for us to have a different tomorrow, that means we have to make different decisions and make different choices. Now, when it comes to dealing with finances, one of the challenges that have not only that our people have been faced with, but just people in this country in general, is that we've gone from pre-K to PhD and we have learned absolutely nothing about money at
Mm,
all.
mm,
And so when it comes to dealing with our tomorrows and financial decisions, it's not going to look too good. And
mm,
so how do we basically get to that point where we can begin
mm,
to change our tomorrows?
mm.
When we deal with education and we maintain that America does not truly have an educational system, it has a
Okay.
schooling and a training system. But when it comes to
Ah,
dealing with education, we maintain it doesn't have it. Why? Because when we look at the word education, education is derived from the Latin term or word educere. Educere means to bring forth, to bring
ah.
out that which is already within us. And so what
Mm,
we go through does everything other
mm,
than that.
mm,
We're often dumped in and poured into us
mm,
how we should be and what we should be. And so what that means is though, upon an authentic educational system, bringing forth who we are and what we are
mm,
allows us to be able to find out what our purpose, what our
mm,
destiny, and what
mm.
our assignment is. And so
Yeah.
we're not given that. And so when we dealing with the area of education, we maintain that there are three types of quote unquote educations that exist in this country. However, we are only schooled on two of the three.
All
What
right.
are those two? There's something known as academic education, and there's
Yes,
something
sir.
known as professional education. Academic education is just what it is, the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Professional education is that when we make a decision once we graduate from high school and to go into a college or a university and to pursue a particular profession that teaches us how to work for money. Why isn't financial education taught? Because financial education gives us the foundation on how to have money work for us as opposed to us having to work for money. And then we will begin to realize that we are a business. We are
Mm,
a cooperation within ourselves. And so if you had that type of information, you might kind of question, do I really need to go to school if the basis for going to, secondary school is to be able to get a safe, secure, high paying job? And so what
Okay.
financial education does is that, and I'm a kind of, I know you said we can keep it real and have a
Yes,
little
sir. That's
fun.
what we do. That's
Uh,
how we do
one
it.
of my elders made the statement that when we go to school and we get a BS, we don't realize that that's nothing but bullshit. We getting some bullshit information.
All right.
And then we say, well, we get that BS and say, well, if we go get our MS, they're going to give up the goods for us so we can basically have some information where we can really live in this society in a very profitable and efficient manner. But then you get that MS and you begin to realize that you require more shit. Then he said, well, you get the MS and come to realize that you got a little bit more debt. You're struggling again financially. And so now you say, well, hey, let me go and get that PhD. And if I get that PhD, I know they got to give up the goods, and I'm going to really be able to generate me a little bit more
Mm.
income. And then you get that PhD, add a little bit more debt, and then you come to realize that you're power high deep in shit. And so
Okay.
what the financial education does is that what we teach is that
Yes. Uh-huh.
whether you go to a college or university, and if you had been socialized in a authentic educational system, you would realize that once you graduated from high school, the letters that would be behind your name as opposed to a BS, MS, or a PhD would be Jamal Toure INC or LLC
Ah,
or LC
okay.
or
Okay.
LP. And so
Okay.
that goes back
Okay.
into the relationship when we say mind your own business, because
Yes.
in financial education, it provides you with a foundation on how you can begin to understand that you are a business, you
Mm.
are a corporation, regardless of if you have any post-secondary schooling or education.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so what that says is that is almost a travesty to be able to go from pre-K to PhD and you learn absolutely nothing about money, even though money is very, very important, especially in a country like this right here.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And so to go back to your question, is that how do we secure our tomorrows financially? It's not going to be secured if we're operating on information that was designed to have us fail financially in the get-go.
Mm. Mm. Okay.
And so
Okay.
it's a programming. So one of the things that I often share with people, I often give the analogy of computers. And one of my backgrounds is that before I actually went to college, I went to a technical school here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
That I had my first year in school is I majored in computer information systems, and I was intending to become a system analyst where I wanted to build computers. But one of the things that I learned that was most influential to me during that particular year was the importance of programming.
Ah.
And so when it comes to dealing with money, when you have a computer, you're going to have a hard drive. And in order for that particular computer to function a certain way, you have to put software on it to carry out certain functions. And so when it comes to dealing with money, because we have zero training in financial education, we were downloaded with software from someone else who was doing the programming that encouraged and inspired us to make the decisions that we make today. And so we often say back in the day, for people who remember that when you got a computer, you would have to put what you call a disk operating system in it. And you still have one
Right.
now, but you don't really have
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
DOS. And so
Right.
what that disk operating system does is that it's the programming component of that computer. And so we maintain that we, for the most part, were all installed with what we call a poor
Mm.
person's operating system.
Repeat that again, brother. Repeat that, please.
We were all installed and downloaded with what we call a poor person's operating system.
Mm. Mm.
And so when it
Mm.
comes to dealing with building wealth, we were not downloaded with the wealth. operating system. It was a poor person's operating system.
Mm, mm,
And
mm.
so in order to be able to create a different tomorrow when it comes to dealing with finances, we first and foremost have to go back and look at that operating system. And in order to be able to change that tomorrow, we have to be able to change that operating system.
All right.
And it's going to take some, and the first thing it takes is making a decision and being made aware that we're utilizing an operating system that was designed for us to not to be successful, especially financially.
Okay. Okay. This is some good stuff to let y'all know. Share the information. Run, tell that family. Brother Walter, we see you in the house from North Carolina, in the house. My God, Tennessee. Sister Betty right here. Reverend Betty right here in Savannah. So we say share to everyone out there checking us out. Good information from Brother Richard Murphy. And now we're going to go to this right here, brother. And you can throw some things out there, how you feel about it. And my perspective, a question I have for you is, what is the impact of economics on our family and our community? What is the impact of economics on our family and our community? Now, some of y'all might say, Jamal, people talk about that all the time. No, what I want y'all to understand, this brother here has a different perspective on some things. And that's why I was like, that's why I just sit back and like, okay. Just like when we talk about security, instead of security, it's about financial freedom. But go ahead, my brother.
Well, one of the first things that I would, again, in dealing with the importance of words, a lot of times we use economics and finances interchangeably, and I'm a strong stickler for words and defining the words. And so when we deal with economics, one of the things that we have to come to understand is that economics is a social science that is concerned with the production, the distribution, and the consumption of goods and services.
Yes, sir.
And so when it comes to dealing with us and our families, we have to begin to look at what type of services or products that we have to develop that we can distribute.
Gotcha.
And so if we haven't developed any products or services based, for distribution, at that particular point, we're at the behest of other people who've done that. And so we don't really have an economic support system or economic net for us to begin to take care and support our families, let alone a community, because we maintain that the basis of a community is a family. And so we haven't been in production mode for quite some time.
Now, some of y'all listening to this right now, some of y'all are probably saying, wait a minute, what Brother Richard has just said, that's akin to what Dr. John Henry Clark has said back in the 70s and even in the 80s. He had said that we are not producing anything. He said, if we at least go and produce pens, that's something. Produce pencils, that's something. That's what Dr. John Henry Clark said. So that's why I'm saying, when you listen to this brother, guess what? He's giving you the holistic view, the totality of what we need to be about. And so that's why I say, yes, it's important to have him on this show to put it out there. Because again, so some of y'all out there who are sharing this, going to be sharing this, it's Dr. Clark language coming out of this brother right here on the same page, on the same level. So now, my brother, we're going to go to something else, but get your thoughts and your ideas, your definition of what is generational wealth? Because we talk about this often. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth, and what is your definition of generational wealth?
Okay, let's deal with the definition of the word wealth first. And it's important, and these are the type of terms that we would cover in financial education, because we maintain that there's 9 basic words that we must have command of to be able to achieve and have a solid foundation in financial education, which would eventually lead to financial independence and financial liberation.
Yeah.
Really, wealth is really a formula.
Okay.
And wealth is being able to, wealth is defined as being able to live your life without interruption a certain amount of days without money being an issue. It might be a little different for what most people understand what wealth is.
Right.
But let me say it another way. Wealth is the number of days we can live without physically working
Mm, mm,
for anyone
mm.
in our household and
Okay.
still maintain our level of that lifestyle without money being an issue.
Mm.
Example. And how would you know what your wealth number would look like? Because in financial education, as well as financial literacy, one of the first things that you would be introduced to is what is known as your cash flow personal financial statement.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about that because that is vitally important to address the whole idea that when we even talk about our tomorrows when it comes to with financial
Yes, sir.
freedom and liberation, is that financial statement is vitally important. Why? Because our financial statement is our report card in the real world. And it determines if we're living, if we're passing or failing in the game of life, what we call the game of money. It determines
Gotcha.
if we're living on financial life support or if we're financially fit. And
Ah.
so, how we're
Mm.
able to determine that wealth number is through that financial statement. So, the example is this: let's say your monthly expenses is $5,000 a month, and you have $20,000 in your savings. So, in order to be able to determine what your wealth score is, you basically divide $20,000 by 5,000.
Okay.
So that means your wealth score is only 4 months.
Mm, 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 mm. Okay. Okay. That is something. That
And so if
share
we're
it.
talking about from a generational standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
we're not doing good at all because we're not doing good at all in our own personal lives when it comes to dealing with wealth. And so in other words, when we're talking about developing generational wealth, we have to start with developing it within ourselves. And
Mm.
we do that by gaining control of that financial statement. And one of the things that I've learned about, in this work that I've been in since 2003 is that, again, the financial statement, the reason why we haven't heard about it is because we go from pre-K to PhD, we learn absolutely nothing about money. And so
Yes,
if
sir.
we understood that we are a business, every business that we know of run their businesses based on a financial statement.
Okay.
And so we maintain that every household is a business. If you have cash coming in, you got cash going out, that is your profit loss statement or your income statement. And when you start dealing with assets and liabilities, that is your balance statement. Every
Okay.
business operate like that. And so if we're running our households without having financial statements is a key indicator as to why we're struggling financially. And let
Okay.
alone talking about generational wealth. We won't even get the generational wealth if we not understand the importance of that financial statement.
All right. Okay. Okay. Hey, I guess some of y'all not checking this out. Y'all not understanding Run Tell That Family and all those others that why is this brother on? That's why, because again, you information he's putting out there that you normally do not get when you hear some other people talk about them when you talk about finance, talk about economics, talk about wealth building. Because again, we have bandied the word about generational wealth. And so y'all heard what he just said, we put out there. So now, my brother, we're gonna move open to this realm right here. Again, it's tied to something that's generational success. What is your definition of generational success?
Again, let's deal with the word success. Because it is important for us to have these words because, again, the words that
Yes,
we use,
yes,
they're
sir.
going to
Yes,
enslave
sir.
us or
Yes, sir.
liberate us, and they dictate and determine what directions that we go in when it comes to making decisions. And so one of the definitions that I came to appreciate was by a guy by the name of Earl Nightingale. And Errol
Okay.
Nightingale defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy idea.
Mm, mm,
It was just that
mm,
simple. The progressive realization of a worthy of just a worthy idea, worthy idea. And so let's say,
mm.
for instance, The person said, well, I've decided that by next week, I'm going to lose 15 pounds of waist.
Okay.
Next week, 15 pounds of waist was lost. That person was successful in achieving that objective. That's a success. That's a success. And so that success is whatever we've decided that we would like to achieve and accomplish. And once it was achieved and accomplished, we've been successful.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay.
I love simplicity.
That's right, and that's a wonderful thing, and that's it. And again, Reverend Betty Jones said that that's why most of us live paycheck to paycheck, so that's a part of what's going on. And yeah, Brother Charlie Sampson, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, great show. That's why we got the brother on, and Brother Walt, Brother Mike. Again, that's what it's about, because we want people to understand. And so you gave some of this out, you threw some out early, but we can again elaborate a little bit more. I want to find out from you, Brother Richard. How can we uplift our families and our communities economically? How can we do that?
Well, first and foremost, it's going to require a decision. And in that decision, we're going to have to really be honest with ourselves and look at the type of programming that we've had when it comes to dealing with understanding what economics is and what finances are. Because again, they're kind of slightly different. And so when we're dealing with that conversation, we have to have that conversation in a language that is supportive of self-determination. Now, when you asked me who I was earlier, I didn't go through some of the schools that I attended here in Atlanta. And as I got older, I looked at the name of these schools, and I was like, wow, it wasn't by chance that I went to these schools named after these three giants.
Okay.
The elementary school that I started out in is an elementary school called Alonzo F. Herndon Elementary School. And if anyone who knows who Alonzo F. Herndon is, the epitome of self-determination. I attended Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta, Georgia. Anyone who understood what role Booker T. Washington has continued to play in the lives of our people when it comes to dealing with economics and finances and self-determination. And then I attended Morris Brown College. And if we have an understanding of what role Morris Brown played in the aspect of self-determination and building for self. And so when we have these conversations, I begin to understand that I had no choice but a choice to perpetuate and continue in the lineage of these giants who professed and taught the importance of self-determination. And so in order to be able to uplift who we are as a community, we're going to have a serious conversation around self-determination based on the wisdom and the teachings of our ancestors. Because again, with the socialization of going to school, it has taught us to perpetuate and to uplift and to promote the economics and finances of everybody else except for ourselves.
Okay.
So even when we hear the support Black businesses mantra that goes on and on and on, the reason why that doesn't happen on a consistent basis is because it's oftentimes outside of our experience. We haven't been trained or socialized to support each other. And that is the role of a genuine and authentic educational system, is to first and foremost teach you who you are, what you are, why you are, and where you are. And again, not only do we go from pre-K to PhD and learn absolutely nothing about money, we learn absolutely nothing about who we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so we're talking about uplifting ourselves economically. We're at we're moving backwards because we've never been taught how to do that.
Yes. Yes.
We haven't been socialized to be able to do that.
Okay.
And so that's what's going to start from, is first off making the decision and then having a conversation around what it means to be able to support who we are, what we are, and why we are.
Okay. Okay. That is important. And this brother threw some things out there, and I got some folks who've asked some questions, and we won't get to the questions. But I just gotta throw this out there. He went and mentioned Alonzo Herndon. Now, for some of y'all, I'm gonna let y'all know this. Some of you might not be aware. Some of you might be aware because you might have heard me talk about Alonzo Herndon lived in a place, grew up in a place called Savannah, Georgia. And guess what? His wife also attended a school called the West Broad Street School in Savannah, Georgia. So yeah, so that again, you went to Herndon, you went to the school right there, and Booker T. Washington. That is the first public black high school in Atlanta, Georgia. Booker T. Washington High School, Washington High, and then also throw it out there. Bishop Morris Brown. Bishop Morris Brown was the pastor at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, where Denmark, Vesey, and Gullah Jack were plotting to free the African people there in Charleston, South Carolina, even asking for support from the Haitian government to help them free the Africans. And so again, that's why, he threw it out there. So, Brother Richard, I went throughout the history, but now I want you to, how can people contact you to get more of this information? How can people contact you? How can they reach you to get more of this information?
Well, they can either email me at successwithcoachmurphy@gmail.com or Coach Murphy at mindyourownbusiness.info. And or either they can give me a call at 678-446-8172.
All right, and repeat it again for him, brother, because we want y'all to share this information. So yes.
Okay, email address successwithcoachmurphy@gmail.com or Coach Murphy at mindyourownbusiness.info. And that's MINDYOUROWN, mind your own business, BUSINESS.info. And I can be reached by phone at 678-446-8172.
Okay, great. We tell folks share. So, Brother Rich, this is what happened. Pastor Betty Jones asked a question. She said, is it ever too late to get better financially? And then she asked another one, and she asked this question, are we able to turn around after we retire?
Most definitely. And everything is based on us making a decision. It's about making a decision.
Okay.
And in making that decision, what we have to do is invest in some financial education. So the first step is to be able to make the decision. And when it comes to dealing with finances, we have to invest in some financial education. We have to. Because again, we're operating from under an operating system that was designed for us to not be successful financially. One of the things I learned when I was in school, I had a dual major in psychology and political science, and I minored in education. And in one of my political economics classes, one of the two things that have always stood out to me, one of the first things that stood out to me was economics make politics, politics does not make economics. And then secondly, it was thought that 10% of the population control and have access to 90% of the wealth in this country, and the 90%ers only have access to 10% of the wealth. And that question always stumped me as to why that occurred, why you had the 10%ers control and had access to 90% of the wealth. And the answer that I learned many moons later was the difference in financial education.
Okay.
Because financial education teaches us how to have our money work for us as opposed to us having to work for money.
Yes, sir.
And so all it takes is just a decision, and then to invest in some financial education. And through that financial education, we begin to increase our financial intelligence through understanding the importance of these words and these terms, because finances is a language. And so we have to learn the language of finances. We have to learn the language of money, which we don't never learn. or very few of us learn it. And so once we have a solid foundation in these terms or words that would increase our financial IQ, that would eventually lead us to achieving financial liberation and freedom. So that becomes the methodology.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes,
Making a
sir.
decision first, making a decision first, and then secondly, investing in some financial education. And then through that financial education, it provides us with a solid foundation in it where we can begin to increase our financial IQ, or what we call our financial intelligence. But let me deal with the word intelligence first and foremost. One of the things we deal with intelligence is nothing but the art of making finer distinctions.
Mm, 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 mm.
The art of making finer distinctions. And so when it comes to dealing with finances, let me give these 9 words that are vitally important, that if we have a command of these 9 terms, it will set us on a path of really being able to achieve financial literacy, financial liberation, and independence and freedom. Now, one of the things about our training is that we love the art of simplicity.
Yes, yes.
Simplicity is what we call the new sophistication. It doesn't require having a PhD in finances or management to
Yes,
understand what wealth is. Very
yes,
simple terms. The first term that we have to have a good understanding of is what income is.
yes, sir.
Number 1. Number 2, expenses. Number 3, assets. Number 4, liabilities. Number 5, cash flow. Number 6, capital gains. Number 7, debt. Number 8, taxes. And number 9, we round it back up with the word wealth. Financial intelligence, in having a foundation in understanding what those 9 terms really mean, we would realize that in making a final distinction when it comes to dealing with income, there's a good income and there's a bad income. When it comes to dealing with expenses, there's a bad expense and there's a good expense. And there's some expenses that are their standard. When it comes to dealing with assets, we realize that there are good assets and there are bad assets. When we come to dealing with liabilities, there are good liabilities and bad liabilities. So in other words, intelligence allows for us to be able to make finer distinctions when it comes to dealing with financial matters and financial decisions. And so let's deal with income, for instance. If we have time, I can just kind of go through the differences in those terms. And so when we deal with income in financial education, we teach there are basically 3 types of income. The income, there's portfolio income, and there's passive and or either residual income. Now, the reason why so many people struggle with finances is because we've been taught how to work for the worst out of the 3 of those incomes. What are the worst out of those 3? Is earned income, where we trade our time for money. The reason why it's the worst out of the 3 is number 1, it is the highest taxed out of the 3. And then secondly, we reach a point of saturation in it because there's only so many hours in a day that you can work for it. Now, why did I say it is the highest taxed out of 3? And really, because we're looking to build wealth. Wealth is also dependent on not so much on how much money you make, it's how much money you keep, and for how many generations you're able to keep it.
Okay.
Why are
Okay.
taxes so important? Because we maintain that taxes is the number 1 wealth stealer.
Ah,
It's the number 1 wealth killer.
ah.
And so if you're being taxed at the highest out of the worst out of the 3, you're going to have some challenges when it comes to dealing with building wealth. And how we're able to determine that because everything is reflected on that financial statement. Out of those three incomes, you have to ask the question, what is the least taxed out of the three? And these are like fundamental wealth building principles now. The least taxed out of the three, if they're taxed at all, is passive and residual income.
Okay.
And the second highest tax is what you call portfolio income, which is often in the area of capital gains.
Yes,
and
sir.
So we have income, the three types of income, and then you have expenses. You're going to have good expenses, and then you're going to have bad expenses. Bad expenses is this. Let's say you get paid, and I want nobody to beat me up over this, and you have to have your Starbucks every morning. You get a $5 cup of coffee 5 days out of the week. So that's $20. Well, that's $25 times 4 weeks. That's $100. And so $100, 12 years. I'm saying out of 12 months, that's like $1,200 that you're spending in coffee.
Yes.
What could you have done with an extra $100 that you could have put in an income producing asset that creates some income for you?
Okay. Okay.
So that's an example of what we consider a bad expense. Simple, but you see people do it every day, because when we're working through people and their financial statements, you begin to see how they've actually turned their cash into trash.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay.
And then you have some expenses. Go ahead, brother.
Oh no, I almost said my brother. See, I'm getting mad with you right now. You had already stolen some of my questions. You don't respond to some of the stuff because I was gonna do a money, power, and respect. From the likes of Lil Kim. Your ideas on that and about politics and economics, and then so I still got other stuff. And so what? Now I'm getting mad because guess what? We're gonna have you back on. So we're gonna have you back on again next month. So now my mind is saying something right now because we got health at the end of the month. Then we're gonna be doing people growing up, how I was from to grow up. And then now I'm thinking we're gonna have this financial component to what we're doing, this economic component, what we're doing too. And we're gonna have you back on here, my brother. That's why I'm like gonna let you know. That's what we're going to, because see, Sister Glenda put stuff out there. Sister Glenda, the stuff you've been saying, she's been pumping it out there. She's been putting it right there so people can see it. Sister Glenda also said that we got together with doing segregation, but post-integration, we have not, we ain't learned that, the stuff that you're throwing out there. And even ATR, because Julius Hall, the producer, that's what he's about, producing. And so he even put it out there. So that's giving me signs right now that we're going to have you back on. And so, my brother, our time is pretty much wind down. So I'm letting you know that we're going to have you as a part of our segment, our editions on Run Tell That right now. I had wanted you on here because I felt that when I heard things from you, I like, yeah, that's good. We need that. And so now I'm realizing how even more powerful it is for all our people. Now people seeing it right here. So yes, and Reverend Betty Jones said, powerful presentation and information. Jackson John put it out there that again, brother, we're going to have you back on, but I'm going to let you close us out with the things that you think we need to know right now. Because excuse me, I didn't tell you this, but Run Tell That is the little brother of all the ATR shows. See, we the little brother. See, now everybody else, they can go on for an hour and 2 hours and all that. We can only go on to like about 57 minutes. See, because we the little brother. But we'll be on the other shows, but we the little brother. So I'm giving you the last 3 minutes to discuss whatever you think we need to know. But again, to the Run Tell That family, he's going to be back on. If God's willing, we're going to have him back on, and he's going to be a regular with us too.
Most definitely.
I did intentional pause like that. I did that intentional. But go ahead, my brother.
Yes, sir. But first, I would like to thank you and your audience for inviting me to today's presentation, and most definitely, I am going to be back and will be back. And one of the things that I would like to share with people, that if nothing else, is very, very important for us to understand the importance of that financial statement. Because if we're looking to, as we say, exit the rat race, which is the basis of being able to achieve financial liberation and financial freedom, everything starts with that financial statement. And it is unfortunate, again, that we've gone from pre-K to PhD and we learn absolutely nothing about money. And that financial statement is our report card in the real world. And so whether we have a retirement plan, whether we have various investments in the various asset classes, in order to be able to really, really determine the success that we would like to achieve and obtain in the area of finances, that financial statement is the foundation of it all. And so if you have anyone who discuss anything dealing with financial literacy, financial education, and they don't even mention the financial statement, you might want to kind of raise your hand and say, why haven't you told me anything about a financial statement? Why haven't you mentioned the financial statement? Because it is the foundation. And so we even maintain that all the questions that we've talked about when it comes to deal with economic upliftment, when it comes to the financial liberation, it rests on that financial statement. And so I would encourage everybody to learn how to fill out a financial statement. Again, I could be reached at 678-446-8172, where we can share that information with you and how we can basically walk you through on setting those financial statements up.
Yes, indeed, brother. It was an honor, it was a joy, and the continuation with regards to our relationship, and then also expanding it. We'll continue on. Again, glad to have you. You'll be back on again. We're going to invite you back on. We're going to probably do a segment with regards to that is tailored to you, because we did that now with Coach Sam Carter. He got his health component that we do with regard to our segment, Run Tell That. And now I'm saying, guess what? We're going to have Brother Richard Murphy on. So you got to be a partner with me with regards to coming on the show. We'll let you know, so that way we can lock it on in, because the people want it, people know it. And again, Reverend Betty Jones, everybody's like saying yes, 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 clamoring for it. And that's a great thing. But I got to ask this question now, and I want you to get the answer right, because this is what we got to do on Run Tell That. I have to ask you, what is the best high school in the country? What's the best high school? And please get it right. Please get it right. Please get it right.
Oh, we've already talked about that. It is the Booker T. Washington High School.
Woo, 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 woo. See, once again, that's okay, because a lot of people tend to get it wrong. Herschel B. Dickens High School, that's right, 1800 East Marin Avenue. And then the producer, he likes to put up like a list of the top schools, and he is probably going to try to put Booker T at number 9 out the top 10, just to let you know that. Herschel B. Dickens should be number 1, but he will cheat and not let that happen like that. So I just want to let you know, because this is what goes on here. And to beat our people, just because I got on blue and gold stuff, that ain't got nothing to do with beats. This Gullah Geechee right here and Brazil. So that's all it is. So, my brother, it was an honor to have you with us tonight. We will continue this journey personally and also collectively. Again, we like to have the folks on Run Tell That share this information. Contact him also. He gave the information out. Contact him, because that's what it's about. It's about uplifting all of us. It's about, again, our self-determination and our financial, our economic empowerment. We taking it to another level. And we're going to do that through our brother, Richard Murphy, lifestyle coach, financial coach in success. Again, thank you for joining us, brother.
Appreciate you, sir.
All right. Peace and blessings to the Run Tell That family. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you back here. Run Tell That, ATR. Also, check us out on YouTube. And then we're going to have the ability to actually run the segments even the next day. That's what our producer has said, Julius Hall. We'll be moving on to the raffle. Check out the raffle tonight. Peace and blessings. Run Tell That.